On a quiet Friday morning in February 2003, Leonardo Notarbartolo walked into the Antwerp Diamond Center like he owned the place, which was ironic because he'd robbed it exactly 1 week earlier. The security guards waved him through. The receptionist smiled. Notarbartolo was there to pay his office rent, the kind of guy who steals $100 million but absolutely will not skip out on a lease agreement. Because when you're an international diamond thief, you still need to maintain that credit score. This is the story of how professional thieves spent 18 months planning the perfect crime. They bypassed 10 layers of military-grade security and cracked a vault supposedly more secure than Fort Knox. Then they threw their trash in the woods like teenagers leaving a camping trip. Bullets, not burning it, not disposing of it properly, just tossing bags full of incriminating evidence into some trees and hoping nobody would notice. This approach to evidence disposal had roughly the same success rate as using a screen door on a submarine. Slaughter. Leonardo Notarbartolo wasn't your average criminal. He was a member of the School of Turin, which sounds like a prestigious Italian university, but was actually a gang of specialist thieves. Think Ocean's 11, but with more pasta and significantly worse judgment calls at critical moments. Each member had a specific expertise. One guy could pick any lock ever made. Another was an electronics wizard. The third was a master mechanic. They even had code names: Speedy, the Monster, the Genius, and the King of Keys. These guys were world-class professionals who'd spent decades perfecting their craft. In the year 2000, Notarbartolo rented a small office in the Antwerp Diamond Center, not to actually work there, obviously, but to case the joint. He told everyone he was an Italian diamond merchant. This wasn't entirely a lie. He did deal in diamonds using the business model where you don't pay for them. For the next 18 months, Notarbartolo showed up to his fake office like a regular employee, made small talk with security guards, learned their names, asked about their families, built trust. It was the longest job interview in criminal history, except the position he was applying for was Grand Larceny Specialist. The Diamond Center vault was protected by security that would make James Bond's gadget department jealous. A lock with 100 million possible combinations, infrared heat detectors, a seismic sensor that could detect a mouse walking across the floor, Doppler radar, a magnetic field between two plates that triggered alarms. The vault door itself weighed 3 tons of solid steel and was over a foot thick. Multiple cameras. Armed guards patrolling constantly. The whole building was in the Diamond District, which had more security cameras than a Las Vegas casino. This place was supposedly impenetrable. The insurance company had looked at this vault and declared it so secure they wouldn't even insure it. Nothing could possibly go wrong, they said. The vault was basically a steel fortress protected by technology that NASA would envy. This confidence would age about as well as milk in the desert sun. Notarbartolo and his team didn't just study the security systems. They built a full-scale replica of the entire vault to practice on. They acquired detailed blueprints of the building showing every corridor, basement, and utility closet. They knew this place better than the janitor who'd worked there for 20 years. In September 2002, they installed a hidden camera inside a fire extinguisher to record the vault combination being entered. They used a pen with a built-in camera to photograph everything during Notarbartolo's routine visits. They studied employee schedules, guard rotations, delivery times, and maintenance windows down to the minute. The level of preparation was genuinely impressive. They put in the kind of effort most people can't summon for their actual jobs. Every detail was planned, every contingency considered, every possible failure point addressed. Well, almost every failure point. They somehow forgot to plan for the part where they'd need to throw away a sandwich wrapper. They even recruited an insider diamond dealer who helped them understand exactly how the vault operated. This guy was so helpful, he probably deserved a cut just for the detailed explanations. The team learned that on weekends, when the center was closed, there were fewer guards and reduced surveillance. Perfect timing. They also discovered that the vault's thermal motion sensors could be temporarily disabled with a simple spray of women's hairspray. All that high-tech security, defeated by something you can buy at any drugstore for $5. The security designers were probably feeling pretty stupid when they found this out later. The magnetic lock required more creativity. This system worked by maintaining a magnetic field between 2 metal plates. If the field broke, alarms screamed. So they carefully removed the bottom screws holding the plates in place while the field was inactive earlier that week. Then they used adhesive tape to hold everything together. On heist night, they brought a custom aluminum plate to maintain the magnetic field while opening the door. They defeated a 6-figure magnetic security system with tape and a piece of metal. The security company charged thousands for this technology. The thieves beat it with supplies from a hardware store. On Saturday night, February 15, 2003, the team made their move. They entered the building using Notarbartolo's legitimate access, which is the criminal equivalent of walking in the front door because you have a key. No dramatic breaking and entering, just normal employee access. How anticlimactic. They disabled the thermal sensors with hairspray. They bypassed the magnetic lock with their aluminum plate trick. They used a long, two-part, three-dimensional key along with the recorded combination to open the vault door. They turned off the lights. They pried open the day gate with a crowbar. They blocked the infrared sensors with a polystyrene shield. 10 layers of supposedly impenetrable security, and they sailed through like they were entering a grocery store. The vault designers had built a technological fortress. The thieves treated it like a practice run that happened to involve real diamonds. Once inside, they got to work with the calm efficiency of people who'd rehearsed this 1,000 times. They opened 123 of the 189 safe deposit boxes. They took diamonds, gold, jewelry, and cash. They took everything that wasn't bolted down. Honestly, they probably would have taken the bolts with more time. The total haul was estimated at over $100 million, maybe as high as $160 million. Nobody knows the exact amount because the vault wasn't insured, and many people didn't want to admit how much valuable stuff they'd been storing there. Tax reasons, presumably. Definitely tax reasons. They spent hours in that vault, not minutes, hours, calmly selecting the best items, working methodically, completely undisturbed. No alarms went off, no guards noticed, no cameras caught them because they'd stolen the tapes. It was the perfect crime, executed with surgical precision. They'd bypassed security that was supposed to be impenetrable. They'd stolen a fortune that would set them up for life. They'd pulled off the heist of the century. All they had to do was leave Belgium, lay low for a while, and live happily ever after as rich men who beat the system. Instead, they decided to take their criminal masterpiece and light it on fire with the worst evidence disposal in the history of organized crime. Because apparently 18 months of meticulous planning doesn't include basic lessons on how trash works or where garbage goes when you're done with it. The team had accumulated quite a bit of garbage during their operation. Receipts for equipment, security camera footage they'd stolen, tools they'd used, documents with Notarbartolo's fake company name, and, most importantly, food wrappers. Because apparently when you're committing grand larceny, you still need snack breaks like everyone else. Ferdinando Finotto, codenamed the Monster, had eaten a salami sandwich at some point during the operation. Just a regular antipasto Italiano from a local grocery store. Simple meal. Nothing fancy. This sandwich was about to become the most expensive lunch in the history of organized crime. Piero Tavano, whose codename was Speedy, was in charge of disposing of all this evidence. The plan was simple. Burn everything until it was unrecognizable ash. Make it disappear completely. Except Speedy lived up to his name in the worst possible way. He panicked. He rushed. He made decisions with all the thoughtfulness of a toddler. He grabbed all the trash, drove 40 kilometers away from Antwerp to the Flordambos woods, and just tossed the bags into some trees. He didn't burn them. He didn't bury them. He didn't even check if the bags were intact. Some had torn, spilling contents onto the ground like a crime scene gift basket. Speedy had one job: make the evidence disappear. Instead, he created a breadcrumb trail that Hansel and Gretel would have found embarrassingly obvious. This was evidence disposal that would make a 5-year-old shake their head in disappointment. Professional criminals at work, ladies and gentlemen. The morning of February 17th, a farmer named August Van Camp walked onto his property in Flordambos and noticed trash bags scattered near his land. Being a responsible citizen, he started cleaning them up. Then he noticed something unusual: special paper used for wrapping jewelry from the diamond district. Then he saw small pieces of what looked like diamonds. Then he saw envelopes with the Diamond Center logo. Then he probably stopped moving for several seconds while his brain processed the cosmic significance of what he was looking at. Van Camp immediately called the police. Within hours of the heist being discovered at the Diamond Center, police already had physical evidence from the crime scene. The thieves had helpfully delivered it to a random farmer like the world's worst delivery service. No detective work required, just farmers doing farmers' things and stumbling onto criminal incompetence. Inside those trash bags was a greatest hits collection of incriminating evidence: the half-eaten salami sandwich with Finotto's DNA, a receipt for video surveillance equipment, a work order document for installing security systems at Demoros Preziosi, Notarbartolo's fake company, pieces of adhesive tape they'd used on the magnetic field, dates, more Diamond Center envelopes, crumpled papers, basically everything except a signed confession and their home addresses. The police didn't need to do any detective work. They just needed to read what was written on the trash like it was an instruction manual titled "How We Robbed the Diamond Center." The police quickly traced the work order to Leonardo Notarbartolo and his suspicious empty office at the Diamond Center that he'd been renting for 3 years without conducting any actual business. They found the receipt that led them to Ferdinando Finotto by tracking security footage of him buying that fateful sandwich at a local grocery store. Smide, whether on his pan estate, I'm typing sedulatim have some who have put a smirking non me slurking umerd.
And for thanks.
It is discovered SIM cards with phone location data, showing the phones had been at Notarbartolo's apartment, then at the Diamond Center during the robbery, then traveling together to Brescia, Italy. The evidence was so overwhelming that investigators probably felt bad about how easy this case was. It was solving crime on tutorial mode. Here's where it gets truly beautiful. The police decided not to announce the suspects' identities to the media. They knew that if word got out, the thieves would panic and run. So they stayed quiet and waited like predators watching prey walk into a trap. And sure enough, the following Friday, exactly 1 week after the heist, Leonardo Notarbartolo strolled into the Antwerp Diamond Center like nothing had happened. He was there to pay his office rent and keep up appearances. The man who'd just stolen $100 million was worried about maintaining his tenant reputation. The police arrested him on the spot. His wife and friends were at his apartment frantically trying to clean out evidence when the cops showed up there too. The Italian authorities coordinated perfectly. It was a multi-country law enforcement operation solved by garbage and incredible stupidity. Ferdinando Finotto was arrested after his sandwich DNA matched and security footage showed him buying the salami. Elio D'Onorio, codename The Genius, was caught after his business card was found in the trash pile, and his DNA was found in the vault. Pietro Tavano, aka Speedy, was arrested through SIM card tracking. The King of Keys, the master lock forger, was the only one who escaped and was never identified. 4 out of 5 ain't bad, unless you're the 4 who got caught because your colleague couldn't figure out how trash disposal works. At trial, Notarbartolo spun an elaborate story about a mysterious figure named Alessandro, supposedly a Jewish diamond dealer who'd hired him to execute the heist as part of an insurance fraud scheme. He claimed the real value of stolen goods was only $20 million, not $100 million. He said Alessandro was the true mastermind, and that Notarbartolo was just a hired hand following orders. It was a creative defense. The problem was that no evidence of Alessandro ever surfaced. No witnesses, no records, no proof he existed at all beyond Notarbartolo's convenient storytelling. Also, the vault wasn't insured, which made the insurance fraud angle about as plausible as claiming the moon landing was fake because cheese is expensive. The court wasn't impressed by this creative fiction. They'd seen better plots in daytime television dramas. Leonardo Notarbartolo was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Finotto, D'Onorio, and Tavano each got 5 years. Notarbartolo was released on parole in 2009 after serving only 4 years, which must have felt like a victory. Finally free. Time to enjoy that stolen fortune. Except not really. He violated his parole conditions by failing to compensate the victims, was arrested again in 2013 at Charles de Gaulle Airport during a layover, had to serve the rest of his sentence until 2017. The man who planned 18 months for a heist couldn't plan 4 years ahead. The police recovered almost none of the stolen diamonds. Only a tiny fraction was ever found. The vast majority of that $100 million haul is still out there somewhere, presumably sold off through black market channels and integrated into the legitimate diamond trade forever. Notarbartolo and his crew successfully stole a fortune, bypassed impossible security, and executed a perfect heist. They just couldn't figure out how to throw away a sandwich wrapper without getting caught. The diamonds are gone forever. The thieves spent years in prison anyway. Perfect crime, imperfect trash day. Today, Leonardo Notarbartolo lives in Turin, Italy with his wife Adriana. He's rekindled their relationship after years of estrangement caused by that whole international diamond heist thing. He plays football with his local veterans team. He mingles with Italian film industry people. He posts beach vacation photos on social media. He seems to be living a comfortable life, which is interesting considering he still owes millions in restitution. The stolen diamonds paid for approximately 4 years of prison time and 0 actual consequences beyond that. Meanwhile, insurance companies that claimed the vault was too secure to need insurance are probably still explaining that decision. The Antwerp Diamond Heist inspired books, documentaries, and a Netflix series. It's studied in criminology courses and security training programs. It's referenced in popular culture as the heist of the century. The thieves became legends in the criminal underworld for pulling off something that should have been impossible. They defeated 10 layers of state-of-the-art security with hairspray, tape, and patience. They stole $100 million and got away with it for exactly 1 week before a farmer found their picnic trash in the woods. Peak human achievement right there. They had the skills to crack the uncrackable vault, but not the common sense to burn a sandwich wrapper. They could bypass infrared sensors, but not basic waste management. They could disable magnetic fields, but not make evidence disappear properly. This is what happens when intelligence and wisdom are different stats. This is a story about the thin line between genius and stupidity. about how 18 months of meticulous planning can be undone by one afternoon of careless trash disposal, about how the most sophisticated heist in history was solved because someone got hungry during a robbery. The School of Turin graduates mastered safe-cracking, electronic surveillance, and social engineering. They studied blueprints. They built replicas. They practiced for months. They timed everything perfectly. They just failed the final exam on basic waste management. And that, somehow, is the most relatable part of this entire story. If there's a lesson here, it's that you can plan the perfect crime, but trash day will still ruin your life. You can defeat million-dollar security systems, but you cannot defeat the consequences of littering. The uncrackable vault was no match for professional thieves, but a half-eaten salami sandwich was their undoing. The Antwerp Diamond Heist will be remembered as the greatest robbery that was solved by garbage. $100 million in diamonds disappeared forever. 4 professional criminals went to prison because they